Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our March Planning Commission meeting. We are going to call this meeting to order if our staff are ready. Amber, would you give us the opening statement?
Good afternoon. The Augusta, Georgia Planning Commission is a recommending body. The final decision on all zoning matters coming before it will be made by the Augusta Commission on Tuesday, March the 18th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the Augusta Commission chambers at the Municipal Building. The Planning Commission makes the final decisions on all variances, including subdivision regulations. A handout describing the zoning procedures from which these cases are decided is available upon request. These procedures also require that any applicant for a rezoning action or any opponent to an application for a rezoning action who has made contributions aggregating $250 or more to a local government official within 2 years of the rezoning application to file a disclosure report with the governing authority. The disclosure report must be filed within 10 calendar days of filing the application and at least 10 calendar days prior to today's hearing. A minimum of 10 minutes shall be afforded for the presentation of data, evidence, and opinions on each side of a rezoning petition or a special exception. If more than 10 minutes is afforded to one side, then an equal amount of time shall be afforded to the other side. The Commission encourages participation in this hearing, and there is no restrictions on who may address the Commission within the allotted time. But the Commission does ask that all public comments be brief, on subject and non-repetitive, and directed to the Commission, not to any individual or group.
Thank you. I believe there are some postponements on our current agenda. So Director Delaney, could you read those out for the audience, please?
Yes. Good afternoon. Currently, items 7 through 10 have requested postponement until the April meeting. I would like to read them into the record, and then I would ask for a motion to allow for the postponement until April. All right. Item number 7 is Z-25-07, and it is a petition by Southern Civil Solutions, LLC, and they are requesting to rezone a parcel to develop a townhome community at 3320 Wind Drive, 3330 Gibson Road, and 3316 Gibson Road, and it contains 39.25 acres, and they have asked to be postponed until the April meeting. Item number 8, Z-25-08, is a petition by Southern Civil Solutions, and they are also requesting to rezone a parcel that is zoned R1A to zone R1E in order to develop a townhome community affecting the same parcels. And in addition to that, they have 3302, 3304, 3306, 3308, and 3310 Gibson Road. So they are requesting to postpone that till April. Item number 9 on the agenda is Z-25-09, and it is a petition by Southern Civil Solutions, on behalf of Property Development LLC, requesting to rezone from R1A to R1E to develop a townhome community affecting properties containing approximately 1.45 acres located at 3301 and 3303. And then there's the last one for postponement. That is item number 10, Z-25-10, and that is a petition by Southern Civil Solutions on behalf of Property Development LLC to rezone from R1A to zone R1E in order to develop a townhome community affecting property containing approximately 3.59 acres located at 2303 Golden Camp Road. So in essence, this particular developer came back in and sat down. They had some things they wanted to work through, and they also were in the process of acquiring some additional lots in order to have to ask for less variances at a later date. So with that, we have spoken with the applicants, and we have recommended that they postpone until they have all of the property under their control, and that's how we find ourselves asking for a motion to postpone items 7 through 10. That is staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we postpone these to the April meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the postponements of items Z-2507, Z-2508, Z-2508, and Z-2510, all for the postponement of April meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Thank you.
All right, considering the postponed petitions, we can take the agenda from top to bottom.
All right, yes, sir. So item number 1 is final plat S-960 Brittany Oaks, and it is a petition by Southern Partners on behalf of TBR Townhomes LLC requesting final plat approval for Brittany Oaks containing 194 lots located at 3303 Firestone Drive. All agencies reviewed and approved this on January 29th, 2025, and it is on page 3 in your packet. We can answer any questions at this time.
No questions. Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the final plat.
Second.
All right, that was a motion by Owens and Spencer. All in favor of the approval of the final plat of S-960 Brittany Oaks, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
Item number 2 on your agenda is final plat S-952 Worthington, a petition by Civil Engineering of Columbia on behalf of GSH Land Fund LLC requesting final plat approval for Worthington containing 85 lots located at 2523 Tobacco Road. The reviewing agencies checked off on February 24th, 2025, and it is on page 7 in your packets, and staff can answer any questions you might have about this one.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the final plat of Worthington.
Second.
It sounded like there was a motion by Owens and Spencer on the approval of final plats S-952 Worthington. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Item number 3 in your agenda packet on page 11 is a petition by JBC Construction on behalf of Jeb Bogus Properties LLC requesting a rezoning from zones agricultural, light industrial, and manufactured home residential to zone R1D, which is one-family residential, in order to construct a mixed-use development affecting 34.9 acres out of a 44.99 acre tract located at 3601, 3605, 3615, 3625, and 3635 Mike Paget Highway. Staff will present.
All right. Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager, and the applicant requests to rezone 5 adjacent tracts with a combined total of 34.99 acres from A, agricultural, RMH, manufactured home residential, and light industrial, LI, to R1D, one-family residential, to develop a single-family detached residential subdivision. The developer is also seeking to develop around 10 acres along Mike Pageant for general commercial land usage. The property is situated near the intersection of Mike Pageant Highway and Tobacco Road. The concept plan presented with the rezoning application proposes the following: 159 single-family detached homes, 3 public streets throughout the development with 2 entry points and entry and exit points, a stormwater detention pond, 3.55 acres or 17% open space common area, and 1.53 acres or 4.4% of recreational area. And according to the 2023 comprehensive plan, the property is located in South Augusta. The comprehensive plan envisions South Augusta character area includes continued mix of housing types from low to medium density to preserve the suburban single-family residential character, which is predominant in the area. The recommended development patterns for the South Augusta character area includes maintaining a low-density single-family development in areas where it is already the predominant land use, and infill development at densities compatible with the surrounding area to place additional commercial development at major intersections. So with this request, it is mixed use, and as you can see here on the screen, the commercial aspect will be along Mike Pageant, followed with the 2 entrances that would serve to provide access to the R1D single-family detached units towards the middle and rear portions of the properties. These are 5-acre tracts, and they are currently occupied by single-family detached stick-built homes, but predominantly the site is underdeveloped. There was a previous zoning action, Z-2305, for rezoning from A and LI to RMH to develop a manufactured home subdivision. The zoning request was formally withdrawn by the applicant on April 7th, 2023. The properties can be served by both public potable water system and public sanitary sewer system. The Georgia Department of Transportation GDOT function classification map 2017 classifies this section of Mike Pageant Highway as a major arterial road. There are no transit routes or stops located within a half mile of the properties. The properties are located outside the 100-year special flood hazard area, and there are no wetlands located on the properties. There are a series of buffers provided along the required side and rear boundaries of the tract as prescribed on the concept plan. And as you can see on the screen, these are the proposed renderings, elevations for the residential component of the development. The commercial portion is still speculative. It will allow for general commercial uses and as well as lower uses that will be allowed in the B1, P1 zoning based on our pyramid zoning scheme that we have. And the properties, let's see, the proposed change to R1D and B2 are consistent with the 2023 comprehensive plan. The conceptual plan submitted shows the 2 entrances, and it would be limited to the 2 entrances to the development. Those will be required to have sidewalks on both sides of the street throughout the development. And based on the surrounding at the completion of the staff report, staff received several inquiries about this regarding this petition, but we did not receive any opposition calls or requests there. Based on the comments from the departments, traffic engineering is requiring a traffic study, and the developer would need to work in conjunction with GDOT with the improvements and tie-ins onto Mike Pageant. Stormwater had no issues. Utilities stated that there is access to public water and sewer, and the fire department had some questions about the hydrant, but found no issues based on the site plan. They said that the plan does not have any fire protection features, hydrants, but the plan appears to be acceptable. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Kevin. Is the petitioner present? Sir, if you could come forward and give us your name, your address, and any new information about your project.
All right. My name's Jeb Bogus, 4782 McCombs Road. And there's not really any more information than Kevin just did. He's pretty thorough. So, no, last time we came in for the manufactured home, and I think we had 400 people opposing it, and I'm glad to hear there was none this time. So, better start.
Commissioners, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
I think it's a good project.
Right. Right. Well, they're sticklers, so yeah. What they say is what they get, right? Yep. Yep.
Any additional questions? Anybody in the audience oppose this project? Seeing none, anybody who support? Are you for opposition? Man, if you want to approach the podium, you can. And ma'am, if you would give us your name and address for the record.
Kathy Jones, 3537 North Pines Drive in Augusta, Georgia. I'm just wondering the estimated value of the individual structures.
So right now, we're actually working with One Georgia too to keep the price down on them, but right now, they're probably gonna be about 255 to 290. And they're approximately 1,200 square feet with garages.
Kenneth Pugh. I live at 2208 Windsor Spring Road. I'm here on behalf of my mother. These homes, will they be primarily for purchase or renting?
All for purchase.
Okay. Sounds good.
Anybody else in opposition who would like to speak? You may approach the podium, sir.
Doesn't that says 2,300 square feet, and you said 1,200?
Excuse me, could you give us your name and your address?
My name is Lonnie Wembley, 2777 Willis Foreman Road, Hepzibah, Georgia. Sorry about that.
No worries.
No, they're around 1,200 square feet. But
So what did the 2309 mean?
That's the siding. That's 2,309 feet of siding on the outside.
That's a pretty small home, isn't it?
Not really. You know, the average house probably in that area is probably smaller than that. 1,200 square feet, you can actually have 3 bedrooms and two and a half full baths, two full baths in 1,200 square feet very comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, I know most of the townhouses around town are a lot less than that. You know, they're closer to 1,050, 1,092, something like that. So we've given that extra square footage for laundry rooms and bathrooms, so.
Now, the interest to this property from Mike Paget,
Right.
going south, you got no problem. Coming from the south, how do you get into it?
Well, you've got 3 entrances that are going to touch on the Highway 56. So they're all not going to load up at one time where you've got everybody loading up at one entrance. So you've got actually 3 exits and 3 entrances coming off that onto Highway 56.
So your conversation with Georgia, GDOT, is going to be to make those safe entrances and exits?
Absolutely, to their specs. And yes, sir, we're definitely going to have deceleration lanes coming off 56. I think people gain speed going up that hill. And so we're going to have some long decel lanes to get them off the highway so they can make a right turn in. And you got the left turn, of course, you've already got the center lane in the center for your left turn in.
And I'll add my last comment here, hopefully. What I see you building right now is future low-income homes, and probably that neighborhood would die within 30 years because of the size, the material. So why don't you develop something in South Augusta that fits the upper income, middle income, and working? So is this supposed to be working class?
Well, I guess low income. I mean, I never thought I'd live to see the day where a $250,000 house was cheap. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're in a trend right now where that may be changing. What's made these bigger houses affordable, of course, is 6 or 7 years of zero interest rates. When you get interest up to 7%, you know, the same quality of people are buying both. And when they own their own home, they're going to take care of it. Now, we're not opening up this to investors to come in and buy 10 or 20 houses to where they drop the rent on them, and now you've got a rental community. So these are going to be privately owned by individuals. And I found after 40 years of developing, not 40 years of developing, 30 years of developing, but 40 years of building, that you build something nice, people take care of it. You know, I know, a lot of these 2642 townhouses we built over the years, they hadn't gone into, we started selling those off of, what was it, Pleasant Homes Road were $49.9 25 years ago, 30 years ago for $49.9, and those things are selling for over $200 now. So they're not going downhill, and they're not becoming depressed. They're actually improving in value, and they're very highly desired, and not to mention needed, because there's not enough entry-level houses. And who'd have thought $250,000 house was an entry level? I remember 25 years ago, you could buy the nicest house on the lake for $250,000, you know? So times are changing, but being that they're going to be individually owned, we're not going to sell to investors. I think you'll maintain that, you know? And as Augusta keeps growing and keeps doing right and keeps improving, then it's going to be, you know, look at it. This side of town is becoming, you know, everybody knows over the last 30 years it hadn't been the most desirable place to go build a big neighborhood, but now it's changing. And I think this will be a good improvement to start it out with. But thanks for your comments.
All right, thank you. Anybody want to speak in support? Okay, seeing none, staff recommendations.
Okey-dokey.
Good.
The Planning and Development staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request to R1D with the following conditions. Number one, the development must substantially conform to the concept plan submitted with this rezoning application. Number two, the overall density shall not exceed 4.6 units per acre. Number three, the development must have alternating elevations with at least 9 different facades, all alternating and none with more than 30% vinyl siding. Number four, the sidewalks are required along both sides of all internal streets within the neighborhood. Number five, the development must provide at least 17% open space and a covered mail kiosk. Number six, the amenities to include the walking trails, playground, pavilion, patio areas, and et cetera, must be included within the development and completed up to 50%. At 50% of the COs, these amenities must be installed. So I'm sorry for butchering that one. I'll say it again. Once 50% of the COs have been issued for the subdivision, all of the amenities must be installed. Okay? Number seven, approval of this rezoning request does not constitute approval of the conceptual site plan submitted with the rezoning application. The proposed development shall obtain site plan approval in compliance with the site plan regulations of Augusta, Georgia, prior to construction commencing on the property. And number eight, the development of the property shall comply with all development standards and regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, as amended at the time of development. And this concludes staff's recommendations.
Does the petitioner accept the staff recommendations? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the staff recommendations.
Second. All right, there was a motion to approve Z 2503 by Owens and Spencer. All in favor of the approval of staff recommendations, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to our next item on the agenda, number 4, Z-25-04, and it is a petition by JBC Construction on behalf of Jeb Bogus Properties, LLC, requesting a rezoning from Zones A Agricultural, Light Industrial, and Manufactured Home to Zone B2 General Business in order to construct mixed-use development affecting 10.09 acres out of the 44.9 acre tract located at the same parcels as above in 25-03. This is on page 25 in your packet, and staff will present.
So this item is Z-2504. This is companion to the previous item, and so the presentation would have covered both these items, so we could call a vote or discussion on the item.
Petitioner present. Come back up, sir, and give us any new details on this particular petition. Name and address again for the record.
Okay, Jeb Bogus, 4782 McCombs Road, and no really new information. This is all part of the kind of the planned development here. Wanted to leave a kind of a commercial buffer along the highway. I didn't think it was that desirable to have people backed up to the freeway, you know, for their houses. So this kind of gives them a buffer. Plus, we need some Chick-fil-A's and some Wendy's and stuff out there that we can stop and eat. We've got a McDonald's at the bottom of the hill and a Bojangles at the top, and so there's not a lot to eat out there. So,
All right, commissioners, any questions of the petitioner? Seeing none, any new opposition? Seeing none, staff recommendations.
All right. The Planning and Development staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request to B2 with the following conditions. Number one, the development must substantially conform to the concept plan submitted with this rezoning application. Number two, the applicant must comply with all related aspects of the Augusta Tree Ordinance for B2 and commercial properties. Number three, any proposed lighting fixtures must be directed downward and not toward the buildings or the residences. Number four, approval of this rezoning request does not constitute approval of the conceptual site plan submitted with the rezoning application. The proposed development shall obtain site plan approval in compliance with site plan regulations of Augusta, Georgia prior to the construction commencing on the property. And number five, development of the property shall comply with all development standards and regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia at the time of development. And this concludes staff's recommendation.
Do you accept the staff recommendations? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the staff recommendations.
And that was a motion to approve Z 2504 by Owens and Malice. All in favor of the approval with staff recommendations, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item number 5, Z-25-05, and it is a petition by David Harden requesting a rezoning from zones R1E 1 Family and B2 General Business to Zone B2 General Business to establish a bistro, plant nursery, garden center, petting zoo, event space, and campfire affecting properties containing approximately 5.62 acres located at 1813 and 1815 Kissing Bower Road. Staff will present.
Good afternoon. Amanda Cruz, Planner 1 with the Planning and Development Department. This petition seeks to rezone two adjacent tracts, 1813 and 1815 Kissing Bower Road, which totals 5.62 acres. The property located at 1815 Kissing Bower Road operates a business named Back to Nature Garden Center. It is currently split zoned, with the back of the property zoned R1E 1 Family Residential and the front portion zoned B2 General Business. Conditions of a previous zoning case limits the use to a garden center. The new request seeks to expand uses permitted in the B2 zone to include a bistro, petting zoo, event space, and campsite operations. Currently, this property is part of the Old Augusta Character Area. As mentioned, there was a previous zoning case Z-18-07, which changed the zoning of 1813 Kissing Bower Road and a portion of 1815 Kissing Bower Road from R2 and R1E to B2 with the following conditions. The only approved use of the property shall be a plant nursery. Any changes of use will require reevaluation from the Planning Commission. The site must substantially conform to the concept plan submitted with this application, which was dated December 14th, 2017. Issuance of development permits shall be contingent upon submission of plans meeting engineering, environmental, and other pertinent development regulations. If development does not commence within 24 months, or if use ceases to exist for a 6-month period, the B2 zoning shall revert to the current R2 and R1E zoning. There was a code enforcement case assigned to Senior Code Enforcement Officer Brandy Palmer. That is currently open, as Back to Nature Garden Center was only permitted to operate as a garden center. The applicant was forced to close all business operations except for the garden center, as the property was in violation of the previously approved zoning conditions. Such business activities included the bistro, petting zoo, event space, and campsite operations. The applicant was unaware of the expansion, or unaware that the expansion of business activities would require a zoning change, which is why the zoning petition is before you today. Adjacent zoning to the west is a mix of B1 neighborhood business and B2 general business. To the east, R1A, which is 1 family residential. In the north, R1E, 1 family residential. And in the south, a mix of R1A, 1 family residential, and R3B, multifamily residential. Per the GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation Functional Classification Map of 2017, Kissing Bower Road is classified as a local road. According to the FEMA Flood Insurance Rate Map firm, The properties are not located within a special flood hazard area. Both public water and sewer are present and in use currently. According to the Augusta-Richmond County GIS maps, there are no localized wetlands located on the properties. The applicant submitted a petition with approximately 60 signatures and 33 emails in support of the Back to Nature Garden Center continuing its business and operating and offering expanded services provided by other small businesses at this property. The applicant indicated that 9 employees are employed by Back to Nature Garden, as the business provides fresh food options to the local community, which lies in the middle of a food desert. The nearest grocery store is over a mile away. At the time of completion of this report, staff have not received any opposition inquiries regarding the petition. We did receive comments from utilities stating that there is a water line that is available for their use on Kissing Bower Road, as well as a sewer line that is available for their use. However, they need to be aware that they have a sewer main line that runs across their property if they decide to expand the building, that it would need to be relocated if it became an issue of expansion. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you, Amanda. Is the petitioner present? Okay, sir, if you could come up and give us your name, address, and any new details on your project.
Thank you. My name is David Harden. My home address is 3030 Angela Street in Augusta, Georgia. And for additional information that we have actually increased the number of signatures as well as letters of support. So we're actually now up to 89 signatures as well as 42 letters in support. As far as the use, we were unaware that we could not expand based off the previous zoning, and that is why we are here to seek that rezoning. We have several people in the community that greatly appreciate having those fresh food options of the bistro. They love coming to the garden center and being able to eat as well and just kind of spend time. We really wanted to create a community space where people don't have to spend money to go out and do something. We wanted people to be able to feel comfortable to come out. But if they wanted to spend more time, of course, we have plants for purchase. We have fresh food for purchase. We have all of these options available for everyone. As far as the petting zoo is concerned, we don't charge people to visit with animals. And it's very small animals. We have 2 mini pigs that were actually rescues, where people had gotten animals that they couldn't keep anymore. We have separate fencing provided for them, as well as we have 2 Nigerian dwarf goats, both of which are very small as well. And we do have chickens and ducks on premises. So those provide an opportunity for people who aren't familiar with farm animals and things of that nature to be able to see them in person. We provide a space where they can sit around them without actually going in with them themselves, and that way they have the safety. Now, there is a parcel at 1817 that is owned by us as well. That is not in consideration for the zoning. That's what that square is. That's not part of the rezoning request. So that is unrelated to this case. But since it is zoned residential, I did just want to bring that up, that is owned by us as well.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, do you have questions of the petitioner?
Are you anticipating adding any more animals?
We aren't looking at adding any more animals. We were at one point looking at adding some alpacas, but that's not really proving successful. So we're looking at keeping it to just the animals we have on site.
Commissioner Smith.
I got several questions. While we're talking about animals, what permitting have you applied for animals?
I am unaware of any special permitting. If any special permitting is required, I would be happy to do so. I know other neighbors do have both chickens and goats already in the area. If there is anything special, I will be happy to do that.
All right. The second part I have a question about is this campsite. Can you explain that? Can you expand on what that's going to be? Is that going to be tents that people live in, like a homeless situation where you got homeless tents?
No, nothing like that. So the campsites would be intended for short-term, just about a day or two, just in the forested area that we have. There's no long-term situation where people can stay on site for that.
How are you going to monitor that?
We're there on a daily basis and constantly walk and monitor the property.
Are they going to be paying some cash money, or what are you going to be doing? Or are you just letting anybody come and put a tent up? Or
It's just $15 a night.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Owens. No additional questions from commissioners. Is there anybody in the audience that opposes this project? Anybody in support? Attorney, do you need a count? Okay, overwhelming. Okay, all right, staff recommendations.
And Chairman, if I may, Commissioner Smith, I wanted to let you know that chickens don't qualify as livestock. They just have to be 25 feet from the nearest dwelling unit. And then we also have some guidelines in regards to those other animals. If they were to have horses, mules, the word in the ordinance, but donkey and cows, sheep, goats, hogs, ostriches, and emus, those would be livestock, and they have heavier regulations. Yes, we would extend that, yeah. So as of right now, he has the acreage to accommodate the animals he has. Okay, all right, and then the staff recommendation is for approval of the rezoning request with the following conditions. Number one, permitted uses on the property shall be limited to a bistro, plant nursery, gardening center, and limited petting zoo, event space, and campsite. Number two, the project must comply with all related aspects of the Augusta Tree Ordinance. Number three, the owner needs to update their current license to include any approved uses on the property. Number four, all lighting fixtures must be directed downward and not toward the buildings or the residential uses. Number five, any outdoor storage should be enclosed by a 6-foot privacy fence. Number six, an undisturbed 25-foot buffer shall be installed and maintained on all sides of the parcel that are adjacent to residential areas and residentially zoned parcels. Number seven, all petting zoo animals shall be housed and cared for according to the State of Georgia Department of Agriculture and the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia Health Department guidelines and regulations. And number eight, all future expansion and development of the properties shall comply with all development standards, regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia at the time of development. That concludes staff's recommendation.
All right, Commissioner Smith, did you have a follow-up?
Director Delaney, since he is operating this as a rental facility where he's renting out to tenants, is there some business license that he would have to get from the county?
Absolutely.
So should that be part of this the rules?
The actual petition that you're considering today is for a rezoning. And so the rezoning is a separate matter from the business license, but we did put on our conditions that they have to meet all of Augusta, Richmond County's requirements. In addition to that, they had to update their business license. That was actually in our recommendations too.
Is the applicant aware of that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Harden, you heard the staff recommendations. Do you accept those recommendations?
Yes, sir.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
I'm making a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
And that was an approval with staff recommendations for Z2505 by Owens and Malice. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote for this one, okay? So Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Spencer?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Malice,
Yes.
Commissioner Larcy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Smith.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, but Z 2504 has been approved for staff recommendations. Thank you.
All right.
You want to tell them about the?
And Mr. Harden, just to let you know, come back March the 18th, the Augusta Commission will give you the final approval for this, okay?
Okay, so March 18th.
Yes, sir, at 2 o'clock. But I will send you something in the mail regarding it, okay? You're welcome. Have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give them just a minute to exit the chambers.
All right. Item number 6 on the agenda is Z-25-06, and it is a petition by Darius Jamisidian on behalf of CSR Economic Opportunity Authority Incorporated, requesting a rezoning from Zone P1 Professional Office to Zone R3C Multifamily for parcels located at 343 Telfair Street. It is on page 45 in your packet, and it contains approximately 0.16 acres. Staff will present.
Ryan Jones, Planner 1. The petitioner is seeking to rezone a 0.16 acre property from P1, that's professional office zoning, to R3C zoning, multiple family residential, to convert a historic residential building to apartments. The building measures 3,421 square feet and was originally constructed in 1901. The proposal to convert the apartment would produce 5 one-bedroom units, 1 two-bedroom unit. There'd be 2 kitchenettes, 1 on each floor of the 2-story structure. Those kitchenettes would be shared by multiple units. There would also be 6 off-street parking spaces provided. The proposed use of the building for apartments is not allowed by right in the P1 zone, thus requiring this rezoning. The subject property is located within the Old Augusta character area. The vision for Old Augusta, as written in the 2023 Comprehensive Plan Update, is to maintain and enhance historic character and its unique mix of land uses while maintaining stability in established neighborhoods. Underutilized parcels should be redeveloped with respect for existing development patterns and the historic architecture in the area. The proposed conversion is consistent with this vision. The tract is located in the Old Town Historic District. There are no immediate plans for exterior improvements to the site, which would trigger a review by the Historic Preservation Commission. There are no record of any previous business licenses found at this location, although the building was last occupied by an office space. The Georgia Department of Transportation, in their functional classification, classifies Telfair Street as a minor arterial route. Public transit serves Telfair Street, and there are 2 bus stops located approximately 450 feet from the property. There are public water and sewer lines available and present in the immediate area. Adjacent zoning to the property is predominantly P1 zoning with some B1, that's neighborhood business zoning, located to the east of the property. There are no floodplains or wetlands located on the property, and at time of this report, staff had not received any inquiries regarding this application. We did receive some minor comments for utilities. Noted that there is a 6-inch water line and an 8-inch sewer line available for use on Telfair Street. The fire department noted that the plan presented does not show any fire protection features or hydrants. The plan does appear to be acceptable. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? All right, if you could come up and give us your name, address, and information on your project.
I'm Susanna Barnhart, 5448 Deansbridge Road, Blythe, Georgia, 30805. I am the real estate agent assisting my client who wasn't able to be here today. We don't have a lot of additional information, but the property has already been converted into 6 efficiency-sized apartments, which would allow for I think, the highest and best use of this property. And with the amount of people in the area who need rentals, such as medical students or traveling medical professionals, IT specialists who are coming through the area, military families who are relocating and searching for permanent homes, and also we have a large medical center downtown with families who have loved ones there who need short-term dwelling. So we're just kind of looking to cater to all of this, try to help fill that void, and that is what our purpose is.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have questions of the petitioner? Seeing none. Anybody in the audience in objection? No objection. Anybody in support? All right, staff recommendations.
All right. The Planning and Development staff recommends approval of the rezoning request to R3C with the following conditions. Number 1, the installation of a 6-foot wooden privacy fence along the side yard and between the home and parking lot is required. Number 2, any exterior improvements, new addition, or construction must receive a certificate of appropriateness and/or approval from the Historic Preservation Commission. This includes yard work and the fence. Number 3, a density variance must be applied for through the Board of Zoning Appeals. Number 4, approval of this rezoning request does not constitute approval of the concept plan nor the number of units, which must be compliant with the site plan regulations of Augusta, Georgia prior to construction commencing on the property. Number 5, development of the property shall comply with all residential and building development standards and the regulations of the minimum housing code, in addition to the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia ordinances at the time of development. This concludes staff's recommendation.
Do you accept staff's recommendations? Sure.
The one question I would have is they were recommending, I believe, a privacy fence. Is that correct? So with the way those properties are set up there, you have the Fox's Lair, I think 1 or 2 doors down. You've got several properties. The parking lot, while we have 6 parking lot spots on our property, should we purchase it, that parking lot is an open lot that all of the buildings back there use, and people drive through to different parking spots. So a privacy fence would actually hinder ingress and egress for the neighbors. Now, as far as putting a privacy fence between the 2 buildings, we don't have a problem doing that at all, but again, the easement, I guess, between the different houses down there is very narrow, and a lot of the different, like the neighboring properties, like their HVAC units would overlap. So how would we comply in that situation?
So a couple of things. One, do you all have a cross-access easement and a parking easement in order to accommodate the way people traverse this lane back here to access the parking? Have you guys got it recorded?
I mean, are you talking about the current owners?
Mm-hmm.
I have no knowledge of an easement. From just being down there, and it just seems like everyone just kind of parks wherever is available.
Because you do have to have the dedicated parking for your residents. So are you going to put some type of signage up that
was our plan, was to put some signage up.
Okay. And then that's one of the things to keep in mind, that if You need to verify that you have a cross-access easement so that people can traverse across this lane. In addition to that, you need to make sure your parking spaces are clearly delineated and that they're assigned to the units and you have the appropriate number of parking spaces per unit. In addition to that, the fence can run or it can traverse along the side of the property in between both of the buildings that it's immediately adjacent to, and it does not have to extend all the way into the paved parking lot.
Okay, again, if the HVAC units from the neighboring units are encroaching, like I've noticed just from walking between the buildings, that pretty much everybody's HVAC units are just kind of in line with one another, so a fence would not, unless you built a fence over the units, that would be the only way I could see how you would be able to do that.
You can shift the fences back and forth. When you get to the HVAC, you can go around it and things of that nature. The main objective of this is you're looking to place residential immediately adjacent to business. This will, the intent of the fence is to cut down on some of the different types of uses immediately adjacent to each other. So one of the ways we are trying to accommodate having business immediately adjacent to residential, especially with the density that you're seeking, the fence is like an indication that this is what's going on. So we can talk about the type of fence and how the fence is installed.
Okay.
But I do think it still does need to stay there for the sake of the people who are going to reside on that first floor. It's supposed to afford a little bit of privacy, but there does appear to look like it's already 3 feet off the ground at a minimum before you even get to the windows, so there might not be a ton of privacy. I don't feel that it's necessarily inherent if the Planning Commission would like to remove it. I can certainly understand it, but I did want to explain why it's there. That's pretty much where it is for us.
I really think that was the only question I had in regards to those.
Okay, so the staff's recommendation remains unchanged, correct? Okay. And do you accept those recommendations?
We would accept the recommendations. As long as we can comply with them, we have no problem.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the staff recommendation. Second.
Okay, so that was a motion to approve Z 2506 with staff recommendations by Commissioner Owens and Davis. All in favor of the approval, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
That takes us to item number 11 on the agenda, and this is a subdivision variance, and it is a petition by Barry Hyman requesting a subdivision variance in order to create a mobile home lot from Section 405 of the Land Subdivision Regulations to create a 4-acre landlocked parcel affecting property containing approximately 47.4 acres located at 4475 Ederly Road. Staff will present.
Brian Kepner, Deputy Director, Planning and Development, Licensing and Planning Divisions. Good afternoon. This subdivision variance involves a 47.4 acre parcel located at 4475B Ederly Road and is situated between the Indian Hills and Shadow Lake subdivisions. The applicant seeks to subdivide 4 acres in the southern portion of the property, leaving 43.3 acres remaining. The land subdivision regulations of Augusta, Georgia require that when property is subdivided, all lots shall have direct access to a public road. The property is located in the South Richmond character area. The original 47.4 acre property currently does not have direct access to the nearest public road, which is Ederly Lane Road. The proposed 4-acre parcel also would not have direct access to a public road. Therefore, a 30-foot ingress-egress easement was created to connect the tract of land to Ederly Road. The distance from the proposed 4-acre parcel to Ederly Road is approximately 1,145 feet. The property is vacant wooded land and is zoned agriculture and surrounded on 3 sides by property zoned agriculture consisting of large 5-acre lots and the northwest property line is adjacent to Fort Eisenhower. The property has access to public water, but the utility comments says that no county lines would be extended to the landlocked parcel. And the property does not have access to public sanitary sewer, and therefore would require an individual septic tank. According to the Georgia Department of Transportation Functional Classification Map of 2017, Ederly Road is identified as a local or minor road. According to the FEMA flood insurance rate maps, the property and the proposed 4-acre parcel are not located within a special flood hazard area. According to the Augusta-Richmond County GIS map layers, there are no wetlands located on the property or within the area designated for the new parcel. And at the time of completion of this report, staff has not received any inquiries concerning the application. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Brian. Is the petitioner present? All right, sir, if you would come up and give us your name, address, and any information on your project.
Good evening, Barry Hyman, 2996 Willis Woman Road. That pretty much covers it. The only thing is the easement access. It's always been, even now, I guess it's always been there, a way to get there. In the courthouse documented deed, I'm pretty sure that easement is recorded as my right-of-way there. Like I said, it's been there for years. I would assume it would still stand for this 4 acres. Never had a problem before, even though I know ownership changes that it goes through. Not sure how that works. Any questions, just let me know and I'll try to figure it out.
All right, thank you, sir. Questions from the commissioners? None. Seeing none. Anybody in the audience oppose this project? By support? All right. Would you like to speak on it? No, okay, all right. Staff recommendations.
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the subdivision variance, as approval of this request would create an additional landlocked parcel without direct access to a public road, which is not allowed by the Augusta Land Subdivision Regulations. And this concludes staff's recommendation.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
Can I speak on that?
Yeah, sure.
So planning and zoning, I guess, is denying or recommending a denial?
That's correct.
We're trying to give someone the ability to have a home site with the understanding of what's going on. A landlocked, that would be my problem, I would assume, or his, that he understands. It would also bring more money to the city. I don't, the denial just, I don't agree with it. Not sure why we would deny it.
Mr. Hyman, I believe there is a viable path forward.
Okay.
And I'm sure our planning and development staff can help you with that.
That's fine. Okay.
Sure.
I was going to ask for that. Thank you.
Mr. Hyman, hello. So in regards to this particular parcel, we looked at it and we have taken into consideration some of the challenges people face with procuring a home site. Because of the way this parcel is currently accessed, it looks like it does appear to be through easements, and those easements should have been recorded. And so if they aren't, we look at them as what we call prescriptive easements. And at this case, and at this juncture, with the concerns we have with regarding safety, and then of course, legitimizing that access, turning those easements into a road. So the recommendation from the planning and development staff would be that you make sure you have recorded easements. You talk to all of the people who would be accessing this. You come up with a recorded easement and then a maintenance agreement, and you apply for a private road that's 40 feet wide.
I think the easement is already recorded on the.
Right,
plat.
but that doesn't make it a private road, because what happens is you have stacked easements. So if you turn it into a private road and you give all of the adjacent parcels that are contiguous to this easement access, and then y'all come up with a maintenance agreement, you record that document.
Who is y'all?
Everyone.
The homeowners?
Yes, the
around
homeowners. The homeowner, the landowners.
The land that it goes through?
Yeah.
Okay, so one guy? Or one person?
Yes.
Talk to him, get something written up, show it to you all,
And
planning and zoning.
we will work with traffic engineering to make sure that we can make it a private dirt road, because that's what needs to happen. And also, one of the reasons we don't recommend any more expansion on the easements is for emergency services purposes. Once we start having what we call stacked easements at the road, when we send emergency services, when they are deployed, they have challenges with getting to the right parcel. So that's some of the motive behind eliminating and reducing the number of easements for primary sources of access.
Okay, with, if I get the landowner's permission and he agrees, what's the likelihood of all that happening?
We would actually sit down with engineering, traffic engineering, to see how we can declare it. You can get it declared a private road. You would name it. You would get a.
I get name on road?
Yes. So you know that's something, and we're cognizant that the whole county's not going to be urban. It's some rural areas, so there's some consideration given for that.
Okay.
Thank you for the explanation, Director Delaney.
I just want to let them know that the planning development will work with you step by step. So if you have any questions, I know it may seem difficult now because you don't understand the process.
I used to work there.
Yeah, I know. so we got it with you. But
All right, well, with that discussion, Chair will entertain a motion.
Second.
Go ahead, Trish, go ahead.
So if we deny it, is that gonna affect the process anyway, or should we postpone it, or what? No.
Why wasn't I told this before now? I sat in the office and we could have said, hey, Barry, this is the steps, instead of spending money and wasted time to come here in front of everybody.
Barry, when I saw you, you gave me a hug. That was the end of it. You did not go into detail with me. You just gave me a hug and said, hey.
Well, we're here now. And there's a motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny SB 2501 by O'Neill and Prince. Let's do a roll call vote. Commissioner O'Neill, how do we vote?
Yes to the right.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Malice? Yes. Commissioner Larson?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Owens?
yes.
And Commissioner Spencer? Yes. All right, so SB 2501 has been denied.
Thank you. Attorney Miller, anything from the legal session? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from February?
All in favor of approval of the February minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.